Okay, good afternoon. Really great to be here. My name is Cristian Suteanu, and I'm in the Department of Geography, Environmental Studies, and in the Department of Environmental Science. And I have good news for you. If there is too much symmetry in your life, or if there is not enough symmetry in your life, you might do something about it. I'm half kidding. This is about new findings that underlie several research projects of mine, and they refer to symmetry again. And just briefly, just simply put, symmetry means that when you apply a transformation to something and the property does not change, this is when we talk about symmetry, right? For if you have a cube in all these positions, the cube, when you rotate it in all these positions, the cube looks the same, it is the same. And the same with translation. For every period, that pattern looks the same, is the same. Now, when we look at the environment, we get what we call the image of the environment, which is actually depending on the environment itself and on the lens, on the instruments, the methods, everything that we use in between, right? Well, if that image of the environment has weak symmetry associated with it, like in this snowstorm, and you know pretty well what a snowstorm means, it is really hard to get an orientation. So you can't figure out what this is all about. And if there is too strong a symmetry in your environmental image, in your system image, again, orientation is difficult. If everything looks like everything else, because there is too much or too little symmetry, things become difficult. So here's the point. We need an amount of symmetry that is not too high, not too low. And the good news is that you might be able to add symmetry or to remove symmetry from your system in order to make that happen. So just a couple of examples. Here you have an area, a volcanic area, earthquakes may happen here and there, and you want to grasp that earthquake pattern. It's difficult because the symmetry is so weak. So what do you know? What you can do? Well, this has nothing to do with the fact that I get injections every week, right? So you inject symmetry into the system. And in this case, symmetry may mean a network, a grid. And of course, everything to have to do from here on is just a design method, such as, say, if this happens in this cell, then there's a probability of such and such happening in that cell, and so on. And you can better understand what is going on inside the volcano and during the eruption and so on. But this can happen because you have the right amount of symmetry. Similarly, we have this periodic pumping of energy into our planet, towards our planet. And if that is the seasonal pattern is so strong that when we want to make sense of the variability of the way things change, just from those tiny little details, it's very hard to do that because the symmetry is so strong. So what we can do is, again, with the same smart tool, we can come in and extract symmetry. And in this case, what we do is to extract actually the seasonal pattern. There is a simple, really nice and safe way of doing that. And surprise, surprise, what we get is a self-similar pattern, a pattern that looks the same on different scales. This is what we call it scale-free. And for this one, we have a wealth of powerful methods that are able to capably identify and describe those patterns. So this means that for various applications, when symmetry is too strong, we can extract it, whether it's about atmospheric temperature or river discharge or wind patterns. This looks really fine on a normal computer, but whatever. Based on such a methodology, I developed a way of assessing, for example, not just the variability of temperature, in this case in the Arctic, not just over time, but also scale by scale, on a scale of weeks, months, years, and so on. Or in the case of the wind, variability of the wind, not just in terms of wind speed, but also in terms of wind direction, as a function of direction and time scale again. Seconds, minutes, hours, and so on. By the way, I have one more place for another student on this topic if somebody is interested. Okay, so to make a long story short, what we want to do is to avoid the dangerous sliding towards too much order or too much disorder, and properly steering symmetry can help us doing this. Is this always possible? Probably not. Should we do anything about the symmetry in life? I have no idea about that, and I won't answer questions about that. Thank you very much.